and they need it, and it drops on the floor, and they keep walking. They don't realize I'm looking at them, and I'm like, yo.
Or it's like, okay, let's find an example of this. I need a piece of paper. Stand by. So, here we go. Well, I'm a kid. I'm having a pack of fruit snacks. Open that thing up.
No.
Or do it again where they open it up and they're like, oh, I dropped the top of it. Well, anyway, you seen that?
Yo, yes. I don't understand. I don't understand it.
And then you got to go around and pick it up.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're just not ready for the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you ask them to pick up their bowl or a bowl or something. That's not mine.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Or you just finished feeding them the dinner you made, and they're like, "I'm gonna do dishes."
Yeah.
You hear me complaining about making your stupid food?
Yo. Oh. Yeah. Kids. We had a whole overtime about kids.
Whoa.
Why do you do that every time?
Static electricity. It's different.
Angie, what's up? Angie says hi. Pamela. I don't know why I want to say Pamela. Hola. She says Friday overview. Lots of great topics this week. Tiffany, what's up? Deborah, what's up? Mike, what's up? I'm sure people are on YouTube. So we're trying to get to know Brian a little bit more. He has this thing where
I told you a story you never heard before.
He asks great questions. What was that?
The one about me at school, my first year teaching, and that teacher.
Yeah, that was
You've never
actually
heard that.
No, but I want like juicy stuff.
So you want me to share my secret sins?
I've shared. No, it doesn't have to be sins. Things you've struggled with. Like, what's your biggest insecurity? That's like real.
Do you see what she's doing to me? Like, are you talking like what kind of insecurity? Because we all have a long list of insecurities. Are you talking about an intellectual, a physical?
No, like public, not like your parents, not in your family.
No, I'm talking about me.
Like
but I'm saying like
that people judge
something about
you.
my personality or my physical appearance.
No, not physical appearance. Your personality. Yeah. What's your biggest insecurity? Or one of them, because we got several.
Oh gosh, insecurity about my personality. I mean, I know I've got some serious flaws with like going too far with things. I don't know where the line is. I can get rude when I'm passionate.
You're insecure about it?
Yeah, so I feel uncertain about that. Well, you don't like that answer?
No, it's good. We're getting somewhere.
I've always been insecure about my physical appearance.
I didn't know that.
I can't gain weight, and I don't want to lift weights, and so I've had people. Like, I dated a girl once. She goes, "Yeah, you look like you're from a concentration camp."
Oh my gosh!
Isn't that funny?
So it's come out. Wow.
And that's funny, right?
That's
no,
crazy.
That's not funny.
Yeah, it's not funny.
And so
and that's
I'm
a very
real thin,
real thing.
And then when you bring up that insecurity, here's what people do. Oh wow! I wish I had that problem.
Yeah, I would say that.
And so that makes me feel even better, right?
No, I'm being honest. Yeah.
So you're insecure about the way you look. So but you shouldn't be, because I think it's dumb. That's what people say with that.
What about with, you said you don't want to lift weights. You've played soccer all your life. Why are you not into sports?
Well, let's not get carried away.
You said,
through high school.
Okay, so give us through high school. I thought it was like elementary. You said you always had to do something after school.
From like 3rd grade through high school. Yeah.
That's
it was like, it defined
time.
my childhood. Yeah.
Was it like fall or was it like my kids
winter,
swim
spring, summer,
all
fall.
year? Yeah. Gary says, Jannelle needs a couch for Brian to lay on for her psychiatrist question.
That's right, Gary. But do you think she's going to do something like that for me? No, she's not going to give me a nice couch.
I got real. Oh, about couch. I get the couch. Oh my, I can't be a therapist. I'd be like, I get the couch. You sit on that chair right there. Where's my coffee?
You'd also be a therapist like, what is your problem?
Do
you know what's wrong with you? Let me tell you what's wrong with you. You are annoying.
Yo, so why don't you like sports? What's up with that? Like you play sports.
Well, hold up. Are you satisfied yet with you're trying to dig deep on me, so are you satisfied with my answer?
We're still talking. No, about the insecure. You said the physical. And so when you brought up sports, that's what made me think, why aren't you into sports? And then the thing about you never wanted to lift. I don't understand how you're a soccer player. And then like you don't like to lift, you don't like sports.
When I was
were you a jock? Like
in the 80s and 90s, soccer players did not do strength training. We did a lot of cardio, but it wasn't I mean, now it's much more common to have various sports that wouldn't necessarily be intuitively a strength training sport will do strength training. That just didn't happen when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Soccer players did not do strength training in the weight room. And I think it's horribly boring and it smells and
Weight training?
Yeah, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I've never liked it. You know, some people love it. I love how it feels. I don't. But so obviously I don't care enough about my insecurities to do something about it, right?
Yeah.
I have tried. There was a while here where I would have that. Remember I had that shake I'd bring in?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember.
I'd buy protein powder online, weight gain protein powder.
Yeah.
Those would be over 1,000 calories.
And it still didn't work?
No.
What the
So I've tried things, but I just can't do it. So
do you realize how many people, like, what do you
here it is. I told you.
If I was a
told
scientist,
you.
I'd put you under a thing, be like, what do he got? I mean, you know, but I validate your struggle. I was going to ask you, what about professionally speaking? Do you have insecurities? Because you want to walk up in here like you got it all together. Do you come in here and, like, struggle with some stuff or wonder or are insecure about any aspect of your job?
I'm insecure about a lot of things in life. Like and then I'm going to answer your question.
Yeah, it's good.
Like I got a bunch of neighbors who are all either moderately or really good at mechanical things, fixing things, not making things like with wood. I'm saying like fixing broken things.
Like cars
Yeah.
and lawnmowers.
And I'm really insecure about it because I just don't get it. I'm really insecure about my math skills because they're terrible. I struggle with mental math. I still use my fingers with basic math.
So you're not playing.
No, I'm not playing. I'm
That's funny.
I struggle with basic mental math.
Okay.
And I will count on my fingers, you just won't see me do it.
Yeah.
So I'm very insecure about that. I don't have a ton of professional insecurities because I think God's exactly where he wants me.
That's tight.
But this is such a narrow thing that we do that I don't think it's not a prideful thing to say because I don't think it's very impressive. Like what does Brian do? He talks.
No, you do more than talk.
Well, but follow what I'm saying here. Like I think God has uniquely gifted me and trained me to do what I'm doing, and so I don't have a ton of insecurities about it. I did, but I've been doing this for over a decade. And so I'm really comfortable in my own shoes. It's like asking a car mechanic who's been a mechanic for over a decade, are you insecure about being a mechanic?
Oh, okay.
I don't think they are. I think they feel really comfortable with their skill set. They might be a little insecure about maybe one aspect. Like I always struggle with a carburetor.
With the customer. There are aspects of a job that's
sure.
like outside of your comfort zone.
Sure. So with that in mind, public events are really uncomfortable for me.
Why? Why?
Because I'm such an introvert, it totally drains me to be in public, and I get really awkward. You've seen me.
Yeah, I have seen. It's like a whole other Brian.
I'm really insecure.
Draws in.
Yeah, and I don't know how. I don't do well on a stage when I don't have something to do. Really insecure about that.
About friendships, I know you struggle getting to the point where you connect with guys. Is it a guy thing or is it like you've been burnt? Like
what?
In high school when you were younger, were you popular? Was
No.
it easy for you to, or did you always struggle with relationships, with friendships?
I was not popular.
Did
I
you have
wasn't
your group?
unpopular.
Okay.
I wasn't the kid with the kick me sign on his back.
Okay.
Or stuffed in a locker. Somewhere in the mushy middle in there.
Mm-hmm.
People knew who I was, but it wasn't like, wow, I can't wait to hang out with Brian. No one really felt that way. I had a real close group of friends starting when I was 15. We were in a band together. There was 4 of us total. And me and those other 3 guys were like brothers.
Oh, that's tight.
And they've been the best friends I've ever had, even though I haven't hung out with them in years.
Is there anything about music that you miss with the band? I know you said that was like a big deal. You're very good at music.
Well, I'm not saying I'm very good at music. You are. I don't even think you know what you're talking about.
You said that you could have gone like on tours.
I had one of my band directors in college said that I had potential if I put my mind to it to be a professional musician, but I didn't want it, and the Lord took the hunger away from me. What do I miss? If I could go somewhere and play some soul funk R&B for one set for like an hour and go home, and that hour started at like 7 p.m., I'd do that. But I got really weary after the first set for years of like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I'm bored.
Um,
So what's going on out here? Now that you've got all this...
Francie
What?
says, I love you guys, and I'm so torn because as living in Wisconsin, the Boom Crew out of Chicago Moody is fantastic too. But since visiting your city in 2019, I discovered you guys. You are so very special and thought-provoking.
Thank you very much.
So
Yes.
she's in Wisconsin. Let's
And
visit Francie.
Carl and crew and the Boom Crew and all that business, they're doing great ministry in Chicago. So I'm glad to hear you've had a fun time with them. They're great.
Yeah, you're cool.
Carl and Allie and...
I like your picture, and I love your cover.
Thunder Thighs? Young Thunder. Thunder Thighs, yeah.
And Sputnik.
Yeah, we don't do the nickname thing. So
Okay. So Tammy says, thank you, Brian. Team Brian today. Rob says, I love this session. This is so Jannelle's arena. I think this is what I wanted when Brian and I met. Thank you, Jannelle, and kudos to you, Brian, for accepting her challenge.
Robert, so you're saying you're disappointed the first time we met?
You got a way of keeping people like at arm's length.
I have trust issues.
Right, and so when you take me there, like, well, you don't got to tell me what happened, but what changed in you? Because you said it's not like you were easy in making relationships.
There was one incident that really burned me in ministry life.
Yeah.
To the point that one of my friends who has been on the show, he looked at me one day off the air and he goes, you got trust issues, don't you?
Oh, wow.
I'm like, yeah. So years ago, working in Chicago, young producer, not on the air yet, don't have any friends in the city of Chicago, just moved there with my wife and 3 kids, ages 2, 1, and newborn, desperate for connection and relationship. And I also happened to be the gatekeeper on the morning show in Chicago for getting on the air.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand all that stuff yet, so a pastor at a church who was started to befriend me. Like, it was a big church, and he was a cool guy. He was cool.
Okay.
Hip, like kind of faux hawk, and like great preacher.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, wanted to be my friend. We went out to brunch as families. We like hung out a couple times. Him and I met for coffee one day. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm making a friend. And then without me realizing what's happening, as soon as he got a commentary on the morning show in Chicago, he dropped me like a rock.
Oh, wow.
Dropped me like a bad habit or whatever you want to say. Totally ignored me. I was completely used and betrayed.
Oh, wow.
And so I have put up a wall that I always am suspicious of why someone wants to know me.
Yeah.
Do you want to know me because you want to get something from me? Not that I'm anything interesting, but you know, we have a platform.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard for me to trust that someone isn't just trying to use me. And so it's hard for me to open up. Because there's also the thing of we live in a day and age where if I'm super vulnerable in areas where I don't want to be that are dangerous, people could use it against me.
Yeah. Oh,
And they
yeah.
could ruin my career or they could ruin my influence or whatever, not influence, but whatever it is.
So if someone's hanging out with you, you said you don't do sports, you don't...
By the way,
like
Charles,
going
I am
out.
not insecure about my edges.
Yeah, Charles. Oh, I
Look at these
let you real.
Look at that edge.
Also, you need to check YouTube. I haven't seen
And Twee, see what she says? You look very healthy, Brian, and that's all that matters.
Oh, Aunt Twee.
She is looking out for you.
You're biased though, Aunt Twee.
What's up, YouTube?
You have to
Man,
love me.
people on YouTube, y'all need to subscribe. Callie says, from when I met Brian last year during my MOPS event, he seems very put together and a very nice person.
Here's the problem. I am not put together, but I pretend really well. I'm a total disaster. My friend Jannelle knows that more than most people. I don't know, I guess I'm nice, but there's a whole lot of people that don't think I am, so what do you want?
So if I was hanging out with you, the ideal, you get Friday and Saturday off, you're hanging out with your best friend, not me, like whoever, a guy friend that you really enjoy. What do they get to do with Brian? Like, what do you like doing? You say you're an introvert, you don't like going out, you don't like sports. What would a
This is
night
gonna
with Brian
so
look like?
obvious. I
Obvious? Oh, well.
I like hanging out with somebody I trust
Okay.
over like a good meal.
Out at a restaurant outside your house.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
probably they're paying. But most of the time we're having, like, we're not doing small talk. We're having some really deep, thoughtful, not necessarily serious, but thoughtful discussion about life, about personal experience, about the Lord, about theology, something like that. That to me is a great time with a friend.
Charles,
I don't want to go do something. I just hate doing stuff.
but you like talking.
Yeah.
Right?
Shocker.
Well, for a guy, that's surprising. It doesn't surprise me that you like talking in the small talk.
But it's got to be like one other person, maybe two. Otherwise,
you don't like the big group.
No, sometimes two. Like there was an old colleague of mine, is a buddy, who came to Cleveland on business, and he and I and another guy that worked together, the three of us had a wonderful night together, reminiscing and talking about some serious stuff.
Oh, that's tight.
Yeah.
Do you like, let's go fishing and we'll talk while we fish, or let's go? You don't do none of that. You just like, let's sit down somewhere and eat.
I don't like fishing. I don't like Jannelle. I don't like going anywhere.
Okay. Gary says, working on crafts, Brian. Friend things. Angie says, intellectual conversations is what I picture Brian enjoying. That's what it sounds like. Were you always interested in social studies and history and all that?
Are you, by the way,
there's a whole lot more, but
are you
it's like
satisfied?
We gotta go, but
you always wanted about me not.
I like that you got real about being hurt. That was good. And Charles just said, like, wow, I'm sorry, Brian, that happened to you.
Oh, thanks, Charles. But you're still not satisfied.
Okay, well, so keep going. Fine. It's Friday. What's been your biggest mistake? Your biggest regret?
You put me on the spot here. I got a lot of them.
For your job. Do you have something that you're like, man, if I would have done this differently? Or maybe a fork in the road in life that you're like, I probably would have picked this.
Well, if you believe in God's providence, that's a tough one, right?
Really? Okay.
I regret how my primary means of classroom management was sarcasm.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And it's really effective, but I think I probably hurt some young people, hurt their feelings as a means to maintain order in my classroom.
Oh, wow. That's the first time I've heard that.
That's not true. I've told you that before. You're just not listening.
God, you sound a little salty. What's going on?
What else do I regret? I got a lot. How much time you got?
That's a good one, though.
I'm trying to find you the juicy stuff because that's what you're looking for.
But professionally speaking, you're good. Having left Minnesota, where
you're
at.
One of the hardest things I did ever was pack up my family, my wife and I, and 3 kids, and move from Minnesota, where all of our family and friends were, because nobody in our family does that, and move to another state, 2 states away. Hardest thing we ever did. Sarah looked at me in the eye in the kitchen, and she said, if we weren't married, you'd be going by yourself. But I think God's calling us, even though I don't want to go. Mm-hmm. Like she's saying, if you didn't have faith in Christ, and we weren't, she said, if we weren't Christians, that's what she said.
Oh, yeah.
If we weren't Christians, you'd be going by yourself. We didn't want to go.
Yeah.
But we thought we were supposed to go. And that had long-reaching consequences in our life. Yeah. Like responding to God's call had long-reaching interpersonal and personal consequences in our lives that we are still paying for today. Mm. But I don't think it was the wrong move.
Oh, wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Did you learn lessons that you're comfortable sharing? Because that's a lot. A lot of us make decisions like that cost us stuff. And the easy thing to say is, man, if I would have done differently. You're saying I still would have done the same thing.
I still would have done the same thing, but the cost of that is, a lot of people around here are local, right?
Yeah.
The cost of doing what we did is lifelong friendship.
Wow.
Sarah and I are relatively alone.
Yeah.
Our family and our closest friends that we spent a lifetime building, those buddies I had in high school, they're still in Minnesota. 2 of them are still in Minnesota.
Wow.
Like, that's a cost. All y'all have all your family and your friends you grew up with, and you got a big network of people. Twice we've left all of our support system and moved further from our family. There's a cost to that.
Yeah.
It's very lonely.
Yeah.
but it wasn't the wrong move.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Yeah.
We don't regret it. We've had times where we have to check with each other. Do you regret this? Was this the wrong move? No, it was the right move, but it was the hardest thing we've ever done.
Yeah. Well, part 2 in the future. You did really good, way more than I expected. Rachel says, try to let it roll off like water off a duck's back. I think people are kind of resonating with the way you've been hurt. Mike says, people tend to shy away from large families. I've been there, done that. Charles says, but you have each other. This is what God wants for you both.
Yeah, no, let me be clear, Charles. Sarah and I have not once questioned God's sovereignty in guiding us from Minneapolis to Chicago and from Chicago to Cleveland. Not once have I doubted that's God's sovereignty. We've checked with each other. You sure we did the right thing? And we assure each other that, no, this is, because of so many circumstances surrounding those moves, God, twice in our lives, in our marriage, has moved so clearly that we could not deny where we're headed.
Yeah.
But it comes with a great cost.
Yeah. Cali says she loves watching in the morning. She's having her coffee when she hangs with us. Sharon is acknowledging, like, oh, you need a friend. Which, a lot of us find ourselves in that situation.
Deborah, what?
You see, Deborah, Brian really doesn't want to talk about this stuff. I could tell.
Really? Do you think so?
No, you seem very comfortable. And even that question about what do you most regret, I thought you were going to laugh it off and be like, who responds to that question?
Well, it's a hard question. I struggle with some. Like, one of Kathleen's favorite things to do is be like, if you were a utensil, which one would you be? I just don't think like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I don't know, a knife, because I'm sharp.
Yeah.
Right, I guess. I wouldn't have even thought of that. But I've got a lot of regrets. But some of them also are mine, and I don't want to.
Well, that's why, That's why this is harder. Like, me and my sister, we do this all the time, and we'll discover stuff about each other. But this is overtime, so you can't, like, dig into corners.
Well, I got two friends here in Cleveland now that if they ask me that question, the answer they would get is totally different than what you heard here.
Well,
it's none of your business to know about some of my greatest regrets.
Without telling us. We all have regrets. What have you learned to do with your regrets? And then we can leave with this one. Like, because you're acknowledging, I have a lot of regrets.
It's gonna sound like we scripted this for ministry. And you're gonna be dissatisfied with my answer because it's gonna sound churchy.
Okay, without the churchy answer, do you still experience what a lot of people do and just sit on it? Like, does it get you down?
Yes.
Have you let go? Does it depend on regret? Are there some that are easier to just be like,
Some I don't think I'll ever get over, but at the end of the day, those regrets ultimately remind me of who I am and whose I am.
Yeah.
And that I must continually draw closer to Christ. Because He can take those from me and help me cope with them. I have a friend who's helping me learn how to let Jesus be with me in my pain.
Oh, wow.
He wants to be.
Yeah.
But I'm the one in the way.
Yeah.
And so if I do that, I can grow in intimacy with Christ. And so, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Are you satisfied now?
No, he didn't. Actually, I think we should do this like twice a week. Rachel's saying, man, I hate that I'm late. This is resonating so deep, the part that I'm hearing. Rob says, you better do some push-ups. Kelly says, you really have to have a relationship built on the true trust to be able to share your deepest regrets. People who wave their regrets around have deeper issues.
Well, Robert said you need to prepare, do some push-ups to prepare for the hug that's coming your way. Like, it's going to be like a really...
Wow, Rob, you know you could crush me. You better go easy.
Francie says, I totally get you. I moved from Alaska to Washington to Illinois to Wisconsin. I feel you, Brian. You discover your self-resilience.
Yeah, people don't realize that it sounds exotic to travel, and move around the country. It's not. It's terribly lonely.
Yeah.
But when God calls you to do it, you go. What was I going to say? We were talking about something else. I don't know. I saw the First Lady's comments.
Oh, yeah.
To Brian, and then I was going to say something.
Charles, come on, Brian, darling, let's go have dinner. I'm paying, and I want nothing from you. And Tweet, I'm giving you time to remember. And Tweet says, I also sip on my coffee while I hang out with you guys.
Tweet. You're the best.
Eva, just a thought, if you feel like you've hurt others in a different way, of course, I'm sure you wouldn't want them to carry those feelings throughout their life. It may be time to let go of the hurt that you feel and take some chances on new people.
Yeah, trust me, you guys don't see this stuff. But every day, somebody personally insults Jannelle and me.
Yep.
I was talking to my wife about this yesterday. And this is what I was going to remember.
Okay, good.
I was talking the other day about, we were joking about it, but that I was wrong on something and I was sorry.
Yeah.
While I'm saying that,
while he's saying he's sorry on air. Go ahead.
somebody's texting in and essentially with their words, stabbing me and twisting it, personally attacking a character quality of mine that caused me to stumble. So while I'm repenting, they're like, yeah, you always do that. And even when I try to soften the blow, they continue to pound. Now, the vast majority of our experience in ministry is like with you guys, when you're so kind and sweet to us and encouraging, and we joke and laugh together. But why does Brian struggle with trust? Because part of my job is being vulnerable, and every time I am, and every time Jannelle is, somebody personally attacks us unrepentantly.
Yeah.
I mean, there was somebody just today, you guys, that was texting us, called me a name, and said, I'm sorry you think I'm being mean and that I hurt your feelings. And I kept directly saying, quoting them, and saying, I don't understand how you can say you don't think you were mean when you called me this name. And they refused to relent.
Yeah.
They continued insulting me. So why does Brian have trust issues? Because of that.
Yeah.
Because as part of what we do, every time we're vulnerable, somebody kicks us while we're down.
Yeah.
And so why do I struggle sometimes getting super personal? Because let's be honest, because I'm scared.
Because you're a chicken? Somebody
Yeah.
called you a chicken.
Yeah. No, but right? Isn't that part of what prevents you?
Yeah.
It's fear of somebody using that to bludgeon you.
Yeah.
Of like cutting off your leg and hitting you with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Andy
pretty
says,
dramatic.
that is why I pray for you too every day. Pamela says, when someone's unkind is from the devil, believe only the opposite in love. And she says more about them.
Yeah.
Anton, I haven't seen your name in a long time. It sounds like you just need a good fire, a listening ear, and a scotch. Oh, that's cool.
Anton,
That's awesome.
I'm just going to go like
That's
that.
right, Charles. He says, who is it, Brian? I'm from Compton. I'll take care of it.
Oh, that's right, Charles is from Compton.
Yes.
No, but see, that's not the point, because the Lord's also
No.
teaching us in that what it truly means to love your enemy.
Right.
And you know what? Here's what I'm learning in the midst of that too. We got to love our enemy. It's not easy to do. Paul said, don't just pretend to love others. Really love them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that that's going to give us a pass from the pain.
Right.
Like, do Brian and Jannelle have such thick skin that you can insult us and it doesn't hurt? No, it hurts. But God's given us a wonderful opportunity to learn what it truly means to love our enemy.
Yeah.
You did this just like a couple days ago. Somebody was mad at you and demanded a phone call from you. And with love and kindness and grace and humility, you called them.
Yeah.
And
now they want to be like BFFs.
it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt that because
Yeah.
the person assumed really bad
Yeah.
things about you.
Yeah. And we can be guilty of this. And you hear of, because she shared a little bit of that, things that were said about you before clarifying with you. So that stays with you of like, wow, like people would believe this of me. Charles says, you love him, I'll fight him. Wow, Charles.
Oh, by the way, Charles, my wife got such a kick out of you the other day. I got home, she was laughing, talking about when I was about to walk over there and touch your hair.
Oh,
And Charles
yeah.
goes, we, the entire black community, are going to get you if you do that.
That's tight.
Oh my goodness, my wife got a big kick out of that. Oh, we laughed about that the rest of the day, Charles. You're lots of fun.
Eva says there's always going to be someone who points out your flaws and try to hurt you. The devil uses people all the time. Steve and I always laugh when things go wrong, no matter what, and say, why does the devil keep trying us again?
I do that too, but Eva, I gotta be honest. Sometimes it just hurts,
Yeah.
and I can't laugh it off.
Sherry's saying, thank you so much for your ministry. I thank the Lord for you both. It's very helpful that you're being transparent. Look at you.
Oh, Jannelle, I'm not even done. Here we go. When I first got here to Cleveland, if you would have seen how beat up Kathleen and I were.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Oh.
I saw some of it because it was very public, but you have more details because y'all were here.
I'm not even going to go down the detail road, but here's what I can tell you. People personally insulted us in with specificity. They attacked my wife. People went all over the place with us. And it hurt. I reached out personally to Chris Fabry. And I said, Chris Fabry, will you, because Chris and I, they're not like friends or anything, but I respect him and we're colleagues. And I said, help me. What do you do when you're so beat up by people you're trying to minister to? And he gave me some great advice. I called a mentor of mine who's also in radio. I asked him the same question, and they gave me some great advice.
Yeah.
I called another guy we met with in Chicago. You know who I'm talking about.
I remember.
And he had to do the same thing for me various times. I've called Dr. Rydelnik before.
Yeah.
Not telling you this woe is me. It's just
Yeah.
I laugh it off a lot of times.
Yeah.
But there's that 1% of the time, 10% of the time, whatever the percent is, and it just hurts.
And it stays with you. Roy says, wow, sorry, Brian. The world can be so unkind. Vengeance belongs to the Lord. I pray the two of you and your families enjoy the weekend. Thank you, Roy.
We will, yeah.
It stays with you. And one of the things I try, and I hope I'm successful, because I know we got more coming. We're so young. The world's hard on all of us. I know the Bible says love people, and we know that intellectually. But on in another area, not letting these experiences change you. I don't want to be naive, but I want to be the kind of person that believes the best in people. When I called that person that was so mean to me, and we talked, you don't owe her nothing somebody said. You don't need to call them, and you don't need, this is ministry, but we do that in relationships. We get harder. We get more cynical with people. And it's hard to stay soft because there's the fear of, what if I get hurt again? That person was saying, they could be out to get you. Yeah, it is. But that would be a sad way to change you. But then how do you not change and still survive? Life is hard. The world's, how do you do that?
I still remember the first event Kathleen and I did. And over 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Lady walks up to the table we're at. Sneering look on her face. She goes, welcome to Cleveland, I guess.
Wow.
And walked away. Somebody went online, created a Facebook account for one purpose, a fake one, to personally, directly insult Kathleen for the tone of her voice.
Oh my God.
The voice, something she can't control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when she tried to respond with grace, they hit her even harder and deleted the account.
Yeah.
They created a personal account for one purpose,
Oh my
to
God.
hurt Kathleen's feelings.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
It makes you burp, really.
Yeah. Oh my, that is crazy. It's like Cali saying, I don't want to be someone else's bad Christian story.
Well, but here's the problem, and here's the thing. You will be, and I am.
Yeah.
But how do you not become the story? We may have done
But
it
we
and
will
not
be
know.
the story.
Yeah, but then
We don't say
don't
this
you
in
wanna
self-righteousness,
be...
Jannelle.
No. I'm saying I want to know so I could be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. To know I am the story for years to come and not know, that's sad. But
sad.
It's a reality.
It's inevitable, though, right? Because if we truly embrace the idea, we don't tell you these things from a self-righteous perspective. You could find a large group of people to assemble, and they could tell you stories that we're even aware of, that how our ministry has personally hurt them.
Yeah.
And you'd be shocked by it. And I would too. And I'd feel horrible, and I'd want to repent of it, but I'll never know about it.
Yeah.
But that's why we have to make sure that we lift up Christ as supreme, not ourselves.
Yeah.
And that we make sure people understand that we know that we are wicked and undeserving of God's grace.
Rachel, she says, that's just awful. It's one of the reasons I know that I don't fully step out in confidence into my calling.
But that's part of the deal, though, right? See, that's the cost. And Rachel,
Scott.
Rachel Scott talked about that this week on the show. Talk about Follow Up Friday. Many of us are unwilling to accept the calling God has given us because the cost is too great. The pain is too much.
Yeah.
It's part of the deal. I remember this lady called me once, and she was saying, I forget the specificity of the meanness, but personally insulting me. So I called her, we're talking, and I said, honestly, how would you feel if I said these things about you? I thought I was like just about to get to it. She goes, you're on the radio. It's your job to take this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've had that.
Oh
It's your job to be insulted by me, right?
Someone
quite-
did that
and quite
through
frankly-
social media too, for
Right.
me.
They do on social media, but here's the truth of it.
Yeah.
It is kind of the job. It's like when you hear celebrities whine about, we're not celebrities, but somebody in Hollywood, oh, these people, they're paying attention to me and taking my picture. If you didn't want to be famous, what are you doing?
Okay, wait. I don't want to make this super long,
You
but
already did.
I know it is our job. But this brings up. I'm gonna be secular here. Sorry, y'all. This is overtime. Framing Brittany. Have you been following some of the stories? There's a video. We're talking about Brittany Spears and the damage that she's been put through. And of course, you can look at her and be like, oh, please, like, she was famous, whatever. There's a video that's coming out that's been made viral. It's like 10 seconds. And it was I don't listen to, like, stand-up comedians that are, like, night show guys. So you may know who he is. But it's become viral because in the midst of when people were laughing at her, he was like, the one thing we're not going to do today is laugh at Brittany Spears. And then he goes, she's a kid. Like, she's a young mom. Mm-hmm. The way he talked about her, it was like, yo, dude, like, she's famous and all, she's human. And he just stopped it right there and moved on. He's like, I'm not talking about her. So I know.
But doesn't that sound like Jesus?
Yes. And I know it's our job, but forget us. Because famous people, like, we forget. Like, yo, these are people. Forget, okay, famous people, pastors, our leaders. Like, when we talk about people, we forget. Yo, these people got families, they got feelings, that kind of thing. So,
But that's the don't just pretend to love others. Really love them. Mm-hmm. Love your enemy. Pray for those who persecute you. You will be persecuted.
yeah.
Like, we're not promised it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
And that's, honestly, I wouldn't trade any of the stories we've shared with
Yeah.
you because it's taught me truly what it means to love your enemy. And sometimes you can't learn how to do that unless you're vulnerable. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Francie says, I don't understand this behavior, the one you talked about. I have never heard of such inhumane behavior. I am floored. Thank you for not folding your chair and walking away. The things you guys went through. Oh my gosh.
Well, but I mean,
and Kathleen.
That's nothing.
I know. That's
You could call Chris Fabry
wrong.
and hear that. You could call Janet Parshall and hear that. You could call anybody who's been on the radio, any pastor. I learned this first on the radio, but when I was an elder. I was like, you want me to be an elder? This is going to be so great. And I went to a few meetings and I started losing sleep.
Wow.
Because it was not fun. You saw the ugliness of God's people when you pulled back the curtain. Just a reminder that we're all saved and still need a Savior, that's all.
And Miss Anita says, we assume everybody's saved. We assume everyone who's saved is maturing in their faith. Satan will use anyone willing to be a tool. So painful, and yet you rise.
No. The Lord rises. I mean,
yeah.
But I get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Pat yourself on the back, Jannelle.
Rob says, my job is not licensed for another's lack of self-esteem, nor true Christian values to be displayed. Angie says, thank you all. I will be examining my heart, which is your encouragement. Like, check ourselves because we're doing it. Do I really love my enemy? Rachel says, yes, I love shutting down conversations that down people. I embrace that part of my calling. Yeah! That's
yeah,
good
but
stuff.
you know what? If you get into ministry, you're going to learn right away that people are going to just destroy you, and it's going to be God's people.
Yeah.
And it teaches us what love truly is. It's like we've had people call our show and be on the air super mean. And our call is not to retaliate. Our call is to show them love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control.
That's right.
And it's not easy.
Look at what you did. You served so sacrificially. You sat there and answered questions about yourself.
You're going to keep talking junk now?
You can do it. Wow.
She's been talking junk about you. You know it's annoying. Right before the show.
I said that.
You know it's annoying about you.
You did a good job. You should buy yourself more donuts.
And I kept it going this long just so you could shut up about it. How about that? Just kidding. She's my good
Bye,
friend.
guys. Love you.